Why, hello there. Nice tail here. Hold on, I'm moving my chair. I do hope this video finds you well. And I'm bringing you today a summary of a knife I have done a full review on. This is the Riot made Kirby Lambert design mini Crossroads. This is a very interesting knife. And honestly, I'm pretty positive there are still variants of this knife hanging around. Maybe at Crane's Cutlery. I know they had a few unique variants with like tiger stripe, different colors of tiger stripe carbon fiber, white, red, and stuff. I don't know if any of their super fancy variants with Damascus or anything that's still there, but there are definitely some variants of this hanging around at different retailers if you look for it. This is a very interesting knife. I don't think it was as popular or as maybe it deserves because it's a bit small and very chunky. Like this is compared to the Civivi Elementum, this is a pretty chunky knife. Let's just, it's contoured, but it's also got really thick slabs of titanium on either side. I don't know if this one really hit quite as much as it deserves. This is a really good knife. It's just a bit small. I wouldn't mind seeing a larger variant, but it's got a nice deep hollow grind. It's got sort of a clip point. I guess almost spear point at this point, considering how low the tip gets dropped by cause of that clip. Blade, where you can get good access. It's very sharp. The plunge grind could be better. The stop pin is out of the way, so you can always cut in a little bit more. It's got Riot's fit and finish all over it. Good. It's just a flipper only knife. Maybe that's also part of the reason why it wasn't as popular. I know people like their deployment options. It is a frame lock with a lot of inlay, with some really nice inlay work on this thing. The original variant of this, and I say original variant because if you haven't noticed, this one's been customized. This is aftermarket stuff. I got this from JD Cutlery, I believe it was. And he customized by doing ano, because it's normally just gray, standard, blasted titanium. But these scales are actually one of the original variants. It was a white micarta. He just polished it. And it kind of came out with this like butterscotch look. It's really nice. Got a big floating zirconium backspacer, hidden lanyard post, good clip, little bit tight. I admit that. That one, it could use a little bit more retention, but it works. It's a good clip. What is it? Oh. There's a little bit of rattle back there. Must be a screw that needs a little bit tightening. The screws for the actual, that hold the knife together, are down underneath there. I think these are T8, yeah. I can't remember if they're T6s down there. I probably mentioned it in the full review. Maybe I didn't. Maybe it doesn't matter, because I've gotten this knife apart several times with no issue, and of course the person who customized it got it apart with no issue, so whatever's under there, as long as you have good, decent quality tools, you'll probably be fine. So, it's on bearings, obviously. Good access to the lock bar. Shake shut, very smooth, as you would expect from Riot. A little bit tighter. Kirby Lambert and Riot logo on either side of the blade. It still looks pretty clean to me, despite that the logos being there. This one doesn't bother me that much. They're kept off to the side enough, and the blade has enough personality with the swedge and the angles and all the stuff that's going on. I think part of the reason why this thing maybe wasn't as interesting to some people was because of the very prescriptive grip. You are very much forced into this position. It is comfortable. I can get a full four-finger grip on it. It is very close to being that, because right back here is very close to being too tight. But it is a very comfortable knife. It's contoured, as I said. It's doing a lot of things right, but do think that it was maybe... I think it is both underappreciated and appropriately appreciated because of just how specific and it is, right? You got to be okay with something a little bit thicker. It's not the lightest knife in the world. It has big, fat inlays, but no extra internal millings. I think it is numbered, isn't it? Yeah, this is number... What is that? 55 out of 100. They did, I think, 100 in each variant, maybe? I don't know. It's comfortable. It cuts really well. It's a really good knife. But it is very... I guess... subjective. Yeah. Quality is there, though. I will say that. And if you like this one, like I said, you might still be able to find them, honestly. I, of course, saw this one with this blue polish contrasting the white and was like, yeah, no, that's one that is mine now. Because I like that. I was kind of on the fence on the model when it was just a plain one. There was a really cool variant, I believe, where it had the white micarta and Timascus up here. That was an expensive one. It might have even been Damasteel. I was a little bit tempted by that, but the size sort of was like, I don't know. And then I saw this thing, and it was just like, yeah, this is the right decision. Right decision. I do not know what that is bugging the crap out of me. It's probably one of these little round spacers. Yeah, it's got to be. It's just needs to be tightened down. Okay. Other than that, it's a pretty standard flipper-only, ball bearing in the pivot, quality Riot knife. It's reasonably expensive, and it's not super huge, but it's a good knife. It gives you a lot of grip. The thickness is something that cannot be overlooked. If you like having a bit more grip than you would expect on such a small knife, that, I think, is where this one really hits its stride, because it gives you a lot more mass than you think you're going to have to hold on to. And that can be a little bit of an issue with... I mean, not an issue, but... I mean, the Elementum's fine, but it is thin, small, light. So it's what you need or want out of your knife. This does provide a little bit of a different kind of take on one of these smaller size knives. In fact, how big is this blade? I think it's 3 1/4. It is 3 1/4. Yes, 3 1/4, and just under 7 3/4 overall. It's not huge. I suppose if you have a knife law of under 3 inches, then it is still too big, but it works. It definitely does what it needs to kind of make itself a little bit different, and I appreciate it for that. And Lambert's designs are usually pretty interesting. He's a custom maker. So, that's just a quick little look at the mini Crossroads, and I'm assuming that he has a full-size custom Crossroads. I don't know if he's ever produced one, but he has one. I just find this one attractive, particularly because of the modifications that have been done to it, and this, I think, is definitely a knife that lends itself to some modifications, because you don't just end up with, a slab. You end up with something interesting, just with a little bit of anodization. So, that's my thoughts on this. Full review, as I said before, linked down below, of course, where I go into a little bit more detail, a little bit more talking about certain things, kind of. And, yeah, I'm going to end things here. Say thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.